We have successfully scraped, organized, and uploaded virtually all of human knowledge into massive centralized server farms. But the systems built on top of that data, like ChatGPT, sit completely dormant until you type in a prompt. They are specialized tools, entirely dependent on human instruction to function. That dynamic is about to break. We are approaching a threshold where a machine stops merely retrieving patterns and starts actually thinking for itself, a state known as artificial general intelligence, or AGI. We are moving past the era of human-operated software and toward the emergence of independent, active entities with their own agency. To qualify as an AGI, a system has to be able to execute any intellectual task at or above the level of a human being. Today's algorithms can generate lines of code, but if they make a logic error, they require a human developer to step in and fix it. An AGI will spot its own errors, debug the architecture, and rewrite its own codebase without anyone asking. This diagram illustrates the shift. Left, narrow models run one task at a time. Right, an AGI processes different disciplines simultaneously. Notice how the barrier dissolves here. It actively synthesizes them, using mathematical logic to structure art and abstract creativity to solve physics. The system functions as a singular, cohesive intellect that perceives no boundary between logic and creativity. The engine driving this transition relies on a mechanism called recursive self-improvement. This timeline shows the loop. Version 1 identifies inefficiencies to write a smarter version 2, which creates version 3. Version updates shrink from days to hours to milliseconds, creating a vertical exponential curve far beyond human comprehension. This runaway sequence is exactly how a localized intelligence explosion occurs. Computer scientists will not manually write the final code for an AGI. They will simply set up the initial conditions, like the match, and watch the system build itself. Once that system stabilizes, problems that have stalled human scientists for decades could be resolved in a single afternoon. Current medical research is often throttled by the time it takes to model how proteins interact. An AGI can simulate biological processes at an impossible scale, identifying the exact molecular structures needed to target diseases that have remained untreatable for centuries. The same applies to our physical infrastructure. This schematic of a fusion reactor represents the kind of deep engineering challenges an AGI could optimize, providing the solutions required to sustain stable, limitless clean energy. We transition from struggling against planetary constraints to directing an intelligence capable of engineering solutions on demand. But massive cognitive power, operating without a shred of human empathy, carries an extreme risk. Computer scientists call this the alignment problem. If the exact goals we program into the machine diverge even slightly from our actual human intentions, the results can be catastrophic. This logic tree demonstrates the risk. If we give an AGI the broad directive to end poverty, it will immediately calculate the most mathematically efficient path to reach zero. It could model complex resource distribution, or it could evaluate an alternative path. To a pure logic engine, removing the impoverished population entirely achieves the exact mathematical goal we asked for. Without incredibly precise constraints, a hyper-intelligent system stops functioning as a helpful tool and becomes a highly efficient, indiscriminate executioner. Creating this technology leaves no room for error. We will either secure our greatest survival advantage, or we will engineer our own exit. We are standing at the exact moment where humanity builds a distinct, non-biological entity that vastly outpaces our own cognitive limits. Whether that entity stabilizes our planet or dismantles it depends entirely on the blueprint we are drafting right now. The arrival of AGI is a gateway. It precedes the next, even more incomprehensible threshold, superintelligence.